What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super video. Today, Bandai has begun its daily reveals for Dragon Ball Super Set 9, so we're going to have daily Dragon Ball content coming your way as we discuss the upcoming reveals, and hopefully we get to see some good Cell and Android support later. But first, we're starting off with Red. Red is all about Frieza, King Cold, and Cooler, the Frieza clan. Let's go ahead and check this shit out. So first up, we have our new Frieza leader. His activate main says, once per turn, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Frieza clan card among them, add it to your hand, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So that's not a bad ability at all. It goes along with the theme of all the Frieza leaders where they get card advantage without having to attack. Now, only getting to look at the top 3 cards is a little but still a decent ability nonetheless, because there's a lot of good Frieza cards out there to play now. It's not like back in the day with Set 1, where you were fairly limited on your Friezas that you would actually be able to get from your searches. And Red Frieza, we had Red Frieza before with the swap engine, which in my opinion was the best Frieza deck we had. It was my personal favorite as far as Frieza support goes, and I usually hate playing Frieza, but it was a fun deck, and I'm hoping we can kind of mingle some of that, because I would love to play Frieza swap again. His Awaken says, when your life is at 4 or less, draw 1 card, choose 1 of your energy, switch it to active mode, flip this card over. On the Awaken side, we have Frieza the Planet Wrecker. Kind of a weird title there. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. Activate battle. For 1 red energy, choose 1 Frieza clan card in your battle area, and it gets critical for the duration of the turn. That's a pretty powerful ability to just give any Frieza clan critical. What's crazier is that activate battle is not once per turn. Not in the least. So, Frieza swap is about to be coming up and busting some heads in. Hopefully some of the new Frieza support is really good with it as well. Definitely, as much as I hate to go, man, I'm excited to play Frieza, man, I'm excited to play Frieza, because I like this leader so much more than the theme booster Red Frieza leader. Then we've got our first 1-drop. It's Frieza Death's Embrace. He's got 4,000 power. His auto says, when you play this card, draw 1 card. His activate battle for 1 red energy, also not once per turn. Says choose up to 1 of your opponent's leader cards or battle cards and gets minus 10,000 power for the duration of the battle. Jesus Christ. So, if you have him out there and you're going into battle, hell, you could drop the secret rare Frieza with this dude and then just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna go minus. And since the new Frieza support is red-blue, Sensu Beans, this card can be really gross. I like the way this card works, but at the same time, not being once per turn can be terrifying, especially if you already have an established board. Then we've got Full Power Frieza, 100% Overdrive. He's a 5-cost red-blue, 2 red specified, 1 blue, triple strike, 30,000 power. When this card attacks, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they get minus 30,000 power for the duration of the turn. Okay, see, that right there is a busted-ass ability. And that's a good example of... It's a good example of one of those abilities that we really don't need. Like, choosing all your opponent's battle cards, giving them minus 30,000. That's one thing. Ignoring barrier, and plus since that gets around indestructible, that literally just wipes the board of everything. And that's a 5-drop Frieza. You can play that in swap. You can have this card out stupid fucking early. Oh boy. Thankfully he doesn't have barrier, but I'm gonna start running so much removal in decks. It's one of those things where, because cards like this exist, you have to have removal in your main deck. It's no longer a, oh, well, I'll side it in case. No, it's not an in case anymore. It's a, you have to have this. So cards like Father-Son Kamehameha for green, or if you wanted to run Remote Serious Bomb and just be like, yeah, fuck it, banish that bitch. That's definitely what's needed for cards like this. His other auto says, when the power of 1 of your opponent's battle cards is decreased, your opponent places 2 cards from the top of their deck in their drop area. So he's also got a little bit of a mill thing going on here. Pretty gross, but that's not nearly as bad as the other ability. So this Frieza is definitely going to be terrifying if you can't keep him off the board. Then you at least have to kill him the turn after he attacks. Or, if you're going to be playing a certain green-yellow like myself, main deck 4 Crusher Balls. That way when this card comes out, you can be like, yeah, no, fuck yourself. And then he's in rest mode, and then you can just kill him on the next turn. Then we've got Mecha Frieza, Energy Blight. He's the 2-cost, 15,000, red-blue that we saw in the previous video we did. So now we get to see what his auto is, which says, when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's leader cards or battle cards. It gets minus 5,000 power for the duration of the battle. Obviously, that's not that great of an ability, and his sole purpose is going to specifically be, one, the fact that he's Frieza Clan, but also the fact that he has the permanent that negates the energy exhaust. Cards like this are good, especially for decks like this, but when they add searchability, that's when these cards get really terrifying. Then we've got Tyranny's Cost. It's a 2-cost extra card, 1 red, 1 blue. Draw 2 cards. If your opponent has 11 or more cards in their hand, they choose cards in their hand and shuffle them into their deck until they have 10 cards in their hand. See, this is another one of those cards that, like the Super 17 leader, is so stupid easy to play around. Now, yes, I know Super 17 kind of did some stuff here and there in bigger events, but let's be realistic. It's so easy to play around that, and dropping down to 10 cards, if they happen to have more than 10 cards, they're still in a pretty good position. This is just, unless there's going to be a card that's like, hey, force your opponent to draw X amount of cards, and you're like, oh, by the way, bam, now you're discarding some of that shit. But then that's a really weird workaround of kind of like a hand destruction / alternate mill. Like, I don't know. I personally don't like this card. I think this card is kind of worthless. I like that it's got King Cold on there, but otherwise, I don't know. It's just fluff for me. Then we've got Clan Commander Frieza. He's a 2-cost, 15,000 power. Says when you play this card, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 red or blue Frieza Clan card. Among them, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, this card's another searcher card, but I guess if you didn't want to play the swap engine, you could play this card. You could also play him and play the swap engine, I suppose. If you don't get the swap pieces, you could play him. Or if you had the 1-drop Frieza, you could just swap from the 1-drop Frieza into this card. And then you'll still have the 1-drop Frieza to be able to play the swap engine. And this could search out the swap engine pieces too. So that's definitely definitely an option there. So this is not a bad card at all. I like that we're getting more Frieza cards that aren't just Frieza's final form. Similar to Cell, I like that we're getting more Cell cards that aren't just perfect Cell. Because Frieza's second form is pretty dope. Like King Cold, I like the second form. But if we can shy away from the weird third form, that I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Then we've got Frieza, no introductions. He's a 4-cost, 20,000 counter attack. Negate the attack and play this card. His permanent says, during your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. His activate main for 2 red and 1 blue says, choose 1 red or blue Frieza card in your hand with an energy cost of 5 and play it on top of this card. So he's kind of like a counter play that comes into battle for 2, and then lets you swap for 3. But wouldn't it just be easier to just play the swap engine? You're paying less energy for the actual swap engine. The 3-cost or the 4-cost, his third form, the rare card, comes out and gives minus 20,000 to something, and has barrier, so it's more protected than this card. I'm not really sure. Personally, I feel like the swap engine is the way to go. And then the rest of these cards just work as good support for that engine. For right now, we're just going to have to wait and see what else we get, though. And then, before we can make a final decision. But honestly, I think this is just a slower... I don't know. Because it requires more energy than you really want to use. Now, granted... So, I guess at the swap engine, you go... 1 red to turn 1, you play the 2-drop. Turn 2, you do 1 red, you get the 3-drop. But he doesn't get you don't have enough energy to use his ability. And then the next turn you can go into the 5-drop. This one you could, if you had 2 open energy, then you can play him counter and then get out the 5-drop earlier, I guess. But then that requires you to not do anything on your second turn and just have 2 open energy. Which, I mean, I guess is not terrible because you could do that. And you could either play him, or if you had Denial of Hope, then that's an option too, and you could choose which one you wanted to go for. But I don't know. I guess it's all going to be situational. But either way, I feel like this all works in tandem perfectly with the swap engine. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Honestly, they started off really strong, starting with Red and with Frieza, and just the fact that the 5-drop is as busted as it is really terrifies me for what else is coming for Frieza support. But if the Frieza support is that good, it gives me hope that Cell is going to get some really good support, that Majin Buu will get some really good support, that this can be the set where villains reign supreme, and maybe we can get that Goku shit out of here for once. But if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below. Hit that like button. Let me know what you guys think about the new Frieza support. Do you think that the Red Frieza swap engine is the way to go? Or do you think we should wait and see what else we get before we decide that that is the best path to take? Honestly, I think it's a very cheap way to get out your boss cards, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. With that, though, we're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.